Assalamualaikum and very good morning everyone. So now, we will present on the topic of Ad-Dharurah and its application in the halal industry. Before that, the presenter for this video is Daeng Nur Hazwani binti Hud, Nurul Naziratul Akmal binti Syafi'i, Nur Hawaijah Bahriah binti Kasturi, Hamizah binti Halim, Nur Izah binti Samsudin, and Nurul Tihani binti Abdul Jaid. In this video, we will discuss on the introduction, objective, the related issue, and conclusion. Okay, let's start. First of all, I will explain about the introduction for this topic. The application of this concept of Dharurah has become one of the mechanisms used, such as requiring new Islamic law or current ruling as derived from the traditional rulings, and is an attempt to make more dynamic and appropriate decisions current conditions. Therefore, it is important for every Muslim to understand the concept of Dharurah in this era. Next is objective. The objective of this topic is to understand about the rulings on the use of illegal sources, to determine the limit and method that enable for the industry, and to apply the knowledge of Maqasid Syariah in the industry in order to solve any issues arise. So, what are the issues will be discussed? Okay, first, genetically modified food, food preservative, fish oil process, the use of antibiotics in animals, and culture milk.
Okay, I will present about our first issue, genetically modified food, that I choose the issue about golden rice project. Genetic modified food, GMF, refer to plant and animal through a genetic modified construct and is added in the laboratory to include genes from other organisms. In this GMF process about golden rice project, from bee carotene containing rice usually found on carrot that have been created through genetic technique to handle this problem. The purpose of GMF was introduced to benefit humans as an example of improving the quality, nutrition, taste, or attractiveness of a food, and many more. Depend entirely on rice, which is the main food source of fiber, whereas rice does not have enough micronutrient and substance for one's growth. And as you know, vitamin A deficiency can lead to blindness. Due to starvation in backward countries of Southeast Asia, such as the Philippines and Vietnam, while on the African continent, whereas most people in the country face vitamin A deficiency in their daily life. It is said that at least 500,000 children in the world suffer from blindness each year because vitamin A deficiency may also slow down children's growth until they are susceptible to infection disease. With the introduction of gold rice into the daily diet, an estimate 2.7 million children were rescued. This is one of the most successful biotechnology projects. In this issue, the gold rice project is give many benefit and do not harmful to human. In the Maqasid Sharia, something prohibited in Islam will be allowed in order to protect one's life, intellect, religion, property, and posterity. We can see that golden rice can provide nutrition for children and keep them from harmful disease. So, in conclusion, GMF is allowed in Islam as long as it benefits the human and also save one's life from danger, which is in Dharurah.
For the next issue is food preservatives.
Halal means the use of food or goods that do not contain things prohibited by Sharia, such as pigs, dogs, liquors, and so on. However, this ethanol function will provide customers with a variety of foods without wasting them. This is because it is also used as a preservative for prolong the life of the cook. Alcohol can also act as a combination of preservatives and additives, especially in apps. Food protection with ethanol will also inhibit the growth of microorganisms such as yeast or fungi and slow the oxidation of fatty acid. According to Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia, foods or beverages containing alcohol-based flavoring or coloring agents for stabilization purposes are allowable provided the alcohol is not derived from the hammer source and the level of alcohol in the finished product is not intoxicating and doesn't exceed 0.5% of alcohol. Furthermore, this categorization will also ensure that the Muharramat experience adheres to platform criteria that limit the minimum use and doesn't pose a greater risk of hitting the point of intoxication. Where poisoning can break the Maqasid Sharia, that is important to the care of life and akal.
Next, the issue is about processed fish oil without removal of stomach or agreements. So based on the article about the usage of istihlak and istihala method in halal product determination has discussed on the ruling of this issue. So based on a hadith, which means it is legal for you to have two bodies and two types of blood. The two carcasses are fish and grasshopper, whereas the blood vessels are the liver and the spleen. So this method also been discussed in detail by the National Council Fatwa Committee in 2015. So the Muzakara stressed that the content of fish stomach are among the laws that are not explicitly stated in either the Quran or Sunnah. So if it is interpreted as clean, the law prescribes the eating of it is depending on the opinion of medical practitioner who believe it may be harmful or not. So if it is harmful, then it cannot be eaten because it affects health and vice versa. However, accordingly, based on the mashakka that must be encountered to process fish in large quantities, it is too difficult to dispose of the contents and filth of the fish one by one. And the current reality of the commercial fish oil processing industry needs to adhere to strict standards to ensure it is clean and safe to use. So the Muzakara agrees that commercially processed fish oil in quantities involving thousands of tons of fish without remove from the stomach or feces is pure and halal to be eaten.
I will discuss about the issue, which is the use of antibiotic among the animal or livestock. In 2019, antibiotics among the animals are forbidden. The breeders are not allowed to use antibiotic anymore because some affect an issue due to the animals and livestock. The example of animal and livestock are like chickens, lambs, and cow. In Malaysia's standard MS1500 2009, halal means the food that is not come with difficulties and intoxicating among the consumer, and the most important thing is allowed by Sharia law. In these cases, the animals that take an antibiotic to more healthy, fast growth and prevent from any disease is under discussion because of halal status. Halal is not only how they have been slaughtered, but also how they have been taken care within their life and what they eat. Next is food sources of the animals is also important elements since it can indirectly affect the animal's meat, egg or milk. Thus, what the animals eat is important with halal status to ensure the
the sustainability of food products that are legal and safe for human consumption. Such an extra info, in the commercial livestock industry, animal feeds represent 70% of the total cost of livestock. Since animals also need something to make sure they are always healthy, many scientists start to find another solution for these cases. Based on the scientists' opinion, this is because the antibiotics that used to the animals is the same antibiotic used by humans. The antibiotics can make the livestock is immune and easily transfer to the human's body when they consume the livestock feed. Besides, it makes the antibiotics that humans get from medicine will ineffective, and this is the cause of difficulty in treating the person's illness. So, if the animal is not healthy, people will lose their sources of protein. That is good. So, prebiotic is the solution from the scientists' finding that have different way of use but have the same function with antibiotic.
Okay, the last issue is meat culture. Okay, what is meat culture? Meat culture is a meat that is produced outside of the animal's body by using the techniques of culture, whether through tissue culture or stem cells that are extracted from animals. So we proceed to the factor of producing meat culture. The first is the increase in the human population. When the human population is increased, the demand for the meat become high. If the demand for the food cannot be fulfilled, it will cause the problem to humankind. So, to prevent this problem, the scientist has come up for the solution, which is the production of meat culture. Second, the increase of the human population has led towards environmental problem. So, one of the solution towards this problem is to produce culture meat. This is because the production of the meat culture doesn't need extensive land, a lot of water, and the production of the meat culture can prevent any pollution. And the last is scientists can arrange the nutrient content in the culture meat, so the meat can become more nourishing and safe for human consumption than the conventional meat. Okay, the last part is analysis of hukum. According to the opinion of majority scholars, the meat, fat or bone that has been cut off from the animals while they are still alive, it is considered as unclean and illegal to eat. However, the fur of animals is excluded because they are difficult to avoid. Second, the dead fetus are considered as najis. However, when the fetus comes out from their mother womb in the condition that the fetus is still alive, then it must be slaughtered according to the Zabiha before to be eaten. The earliest fatwa that has been issued by the IIOC, Mufti Faraz Adam Al-Mahmudi and Abdul Al-Qahir Komar, all these opinions are permitted the consumption of cultured meat by qiyas the production of cultured meat with the production of yogurt. According to the Dr. Monzer Kaf, he chose the tawakuf approach until the issue of meat culture becomes clear and understandable. According to him, the method of cell extraction should be emphasized.
Okay, last but not least, the conclusion. Ad-Dharurah need to be examined not only in the context of feed, but also need to include the context of the proposal. Based on some issues that have been discussed before, it is clear that the concept of al-aslu fi asya al-ibaha have been applied in order to produce various types of products. Without this concept, many industries will produce illegal sources-based products without knowing the real purpose of the producing. For the recommendation, the industry authority should play an important role in any work undertaken. For example, set a SOP on the producing. Next is, JAKIM need to monitor the industry SOP. That's all from us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Stay at home and stay safe.